Looking for holiday comfort food that's good for you too? This is it. Lightened up butternut squash mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is the ultimate comfort food, and today we are cooking up a lighter version that is packed with flavor and nutrients. The butternut squash base in this dish not only adds a creamy texture, but it packs in the nutrients with fiber, potassium, magnesium, and vitamins A and C. Let's get cooking. The first thing we'll do is roast our butternut squash. You want to choose a medium-sized butternut squash like this guy right here. If they're bigger, they're going to have more seeds. And then if they're smaller, then we need more. We need about 2.5 cups of roasted butternut squash. And here's a tip. Pop this whole thing into the microwave for 2 minutes to soften it so that it's easier to run your knife through. The microwave softened our squash ever so slightly. The exterior is what's really tough, so softening that helps our knife go through. Now you want a sharp knife. We're going to slice it lengthwise. It is still tough, but my knife goes through a lot easier just with those 2 minutes. So don't try to do it all at once. Try doing half. Put your knife in and then use both hands to really press it down. We're gonna go back this way. Oh yeah, there it goes. Just hear it. Look at that color, all that beta carotene. All those antioxidants, great for us. So we're gonna scoop these seeds out and the fleshy bit that is around the seeds. So grab your favorite metal spoon, go to town. And remember, butternut squash is part of the squash family. So this looks a lot like when you're carving a pumpkin. See all those seeds and the fleshy bit? Get all that out and discard it. Ooh. This one's pretty seedy. I'm gonna get that little bit of stringiness out, and we'll switch into our other half. And again, since we microwaved it and just softened it ever so slightly, it's a smidge easier. There we go. Stringy bits be gone. We have our sheet tray lined with aluminum foil, which just helps for easy cleanup later. Pop your squash right on. Now it's time to get our garlic ready to go in our little holes. So just give it a little whack with your knife. Take the garlic out of its little case, kamicha. And that one was 2 in 1. But we want 3 cloves of garlic and they go right in. Okay, garlic in. Now we drizzle with olive oil, salt, and pepper. To prepare it to go in the oven, we're gonna drizzle a tablespoon over top, so half a tablespoon on each squash. And we're going with black pepper. We just wanna season the squash so every part of our dish is really flavorful. And then a teaspoon of salt. So half of a teaspoon over each half. And there we go. Now it's time to roast. Our squash goes into a 400-degree oven. It's gonna roast for 45 to 60 minutes, depending on how your oven cooks and where you're located. I'm in Colorado, which is high altitude, so it definitely takes closer to 60 minutes, but we're gonna check it and make sure it's nice and soft, fork tender, and that's when we know it's done. While our squash cooks, we're gonna prep our cheeses. We have 8 ounces of nice sharp cheddar, and then we have 4 ounces of Gruyere cheese, which is a nutty, a little bit tangy cheese that just makes the whole dish. Let's get to grating. All right, we're just grating on a big box grater. You could do this in the food processor too with a little grating attachment, but there's not a ton of cheese, so I find the box grater just fine. A traditional mac and cheese is made with a bechamel sauce, which is butter and flour that's cooked together, and then milk is whisked in to create this creamy, thick base, and then you add your cheeses. Now, I certainly love a hearty mac and cheese, but today we are lightening it up by using butternut squash as the base for the sauce instead of a bechamel sauce. This combination of cheeses, the cheddar, little sharp cheddar with the nutty and a little bit tangy Gruyere is what makes this dish just taste so flavorful and over the top, even though we're lightening it up with the butternut squash base. And I've made this, I do cooking demos at my local farmer's market, and I called it Black Forest Butternut Squash Mac and Cheese because the market is called the Black Forest Farmer's Market. But I used a smoked Gouda before for the farmer's market, smoked Gouda cheese, and it was really delicious. But my favorite is the Gruyere. All right, we are almost done grating cheese. My arm is feeling it, so we got, a little workout in while we're making this recipe. For our pasta, grab a big pot, one that's gonna hold a few quarts of water. We'll fill it up to get our pasta going. Lid goes on. Now onto the stove. Once our water comes to a boil, then we will add the salt. And salt in your pasta water just helps flavor the pasta. We don't want to add too much. You might hear some chefs say, make it taste like the sea. I think that's a little much. We want to kind of control that sodium. This dish is a little higher in sodium because it has so much cheese. So just 2 teaspoons of salt will go in once the water starts boiling. It's been 45 minutes. Let's check and see if our squash is ready. So just take a fork, give it a poke, and it should be so tender that it just falls away and breaks away. And you can see this still has some resistance, and this guy's thicker. So it's going to take, for me, another 15 minutes. Oh, this is what we want, where it's nice and soft on the edge. Starts on the edge. Once it gets like that to the center, we know it's done. So back in for another 15 minutes. It's been 60 minutes, so 1 full hour. Let's check our squash. Oh yeah, see how it just breaks down, is really soft. That's exactly what we want. We can go ahead and take it out and let it cool. All right, our water is boiling. Now is the time you want to season your water. 2 teaspoons of salt. Woo, go right in. And then it's time for pasta. For our pasta, we are using this cavatappi, which is like a little corkscrew, but what I love about it is the sauce gets around all those little rings and ridges, and it just looks and feels fancier, which is perfect for Thanksgiving or a holiday side dish. It's way better than elbow macaroni. So with the water boiling, put your pasta in. Whole pound goes right in. You want to cook it for 1 minute less than what the box says because it's actually going to cook a little bit more when we bake it in the oven. And really soft, mushy pasta is just yuck. We want al dente. Now that our squash has cooled for about 10 minutes and we can handle it a little bit easier, we're going to scoop it out and put it into our food processor. So just grab a spoon, and because it's nice and soft, all the flesh comes right out, goes in here. And we want to make sure we get off there. Get that beautiful roasted garlic too, because that is just loaded with flavor. Plus, garlic is really great for us and has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. In here, and just look at all the fiber that we're adding. The potassium, the beta carotene. That's what gives it the bright orange color. Oh, we lost a step. It's okay, we don't need it. And you can see it's still a little warm, but definitely easy enough to handle. And if you're doing this for Thanksgiving and you've got a lot of cooking happening the day of Thanksgiving, like many of us do, you could roast your squash ahead of time and puree it with your vegetable stock and keep it in the fridge for 2 days, or you could do this whole thing, put it in a Ziploc bag or a freezer safe container and keep it in the freezer like I did. Label it, date it, and then you have it for a couple weeks. So when you're ready for your holiday meal, you're just gonna thaw it and then proceed to the next step. So let's scoop our other half. Make sure you're just getting the flesh. You can see the skin is left. And when it's nice and soft, oh, let's get that garlic, look at that. Roasted. The smell is so incredible. It's savory. The roasted garlic gets a little bit sweet. Of course, butternut squash has some sweetness, so it's sweet and savory. I'm telling you, this is such a good holiday meal. Oops. Okay. So do your best to kind of scrape it out. Don't want any skin in there. We just want the nice soft flesh. There we go. I think that's looking pretty good. Our butternut squash and garlic is right in our food processor. Then we add 1 cup of vegetable stock. We're gonna puree it, and this is the base to our mac and cheese. So I'm pausing just to scrape it down. It's almost pureed. I see a few little chunks of garlic, so I'm gonna go again. So good. Smells like the holidays. The garlic aroma is just wafting out of the food processor. Making me hungry. Okay, this is done and our pasta is finished. We're gonna drain it and then put it all together. Ooh, here we go. Try not to spill. There we go. Isn't that a fun shape, pasta? I just love it. And here's a key step. We are using the same pot that we just cooked our pasta in to warm up our sauce. I'm all about less dishes, so this goes back on the stove. All right, our beautiful butternut squash mixture is going into our pot. Scrape all the goodness in here. Then we will turn our burner on low, and we're gonna add the cheese. We wanna heat it up just so the cheese melts, and that is the sauce for mac and cheese. I mean, this color. Wouldn't this be so pretty for Thanksgiving? Every last bit here. Now for cheese. All right, our 8 ounces of sharp cheddar goes in. Get all that cheesy bit. Let's give it a stir, then we'll add the Gruyere. Okay, now for Gruyere, 4 ounces of our shredded Gruyere cheese. Get all our cheese bits in there. We want to stir it up. And remember, the burner is on low, so all we're doing is melting the cheese. If you had this up too high, you can burn the cheese or it'll start to separate where like the grease separates and it's just icky. So all we're doing is melting the cheese. While the cheese melts, go ahead and prep your pan. I have a 9x13. This is like a pretty dish that I would use for holidays. If I was making this for any day of the week, I would just use my clear Pyrex, but we're making it pretty today, so it's going in this. And then just give it a spray with some nonstick spray or an oil sprayer like I have here, because it's gonna bake in the oven and we don't want it to stick. All right, pan is prepped. Let's check our cheese. So you can see our cheese has melted. It's created this just beautiful, creamy, luscious sauce. Now we need to taste it for seasoning. It might need more salt, it might need more pepper. This is where you use your cooking intuition. A little bit on a spoon. Butternut squash is a little sweet, the garlic is savory. Mine needs a pinch more salt, and then we're good to go. In goes our pasta. Stir this together. Just look at that color. It looks so good. We want it to coat every single noodle, so keep stirring it until it's fully coated, and then we will put it in our pan. That is looking fantastic. Into our pan, and make sure you scrape it down to get all that luxurious sauce. Give it one little once over. That is flavor right there. Okay, and now, oh, this color is amazing. Just imagine this on your Thanksgiving table. So festive, packed with nutrition and flavor. Okay, that's looking good. One final step and then into the oven. Now for the topping. I am all about the crunch on a baked mac and cheese. We're gonna use panko breadcrumbs, about half a cup. Sprinkle them over top. I have also made this kind of extra and ground up sourdough bread and made my own breadcrumbs and garlic and herb topping. But when you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner, you don't have time for all those special things. So about half a cup, maybe a little less, right over top. And then one thing that does make it special is herbs. I have 3 herbs here. We have rosemary, sage, and some thyme. That would work really well over top. Since it's Thanksgiving, I'm gonna do the sage and thyme. Rosemary can be a little tough, a little woody, so we're gonna set that aside and I'll use it for something else. I'm gonna give my sage just a quick run through with my knife. Sage is such a Thanksgiving herb, Thanksgiving flavors. Okay, we will sprinkle it over top. Just having a little bit of green makes this really pretty. Now for thyme, what's fun about it is you can just run your fingers down and it comes right off. So we'll do 2 to 3 sprigs of thyme. Let's do another one. And I am gonna run my knife through it. It starts to release the flavor and the oil of the herb. I can smell it. Thyme has a tiny bit of a lemony flavor to it. Okay, scoop it up on my knife, into my hand, and then, oh yes. Now tell me how pretty that is for a Thanksgiving meal. Very last step. Oh, there's a little piece of sage. Let's get that in there. Olive oil. Just want to go back and forth. Drizzle olive oil over top. This is going to help get that crunch that we want, get some glisten. There we go. Look at this beauty. It smells so good. It hasn't even baked yet. So it's going into the oven at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. You'll know it's done when it's bubbling away and starts to get golden on top. Here we go. Smells so good. Look at those crispy bits. It's bubbling away. This mac and cheese is done. Our butternut squash mac and cheese is golden and gorgeous. And remember, this is a lightened up version. If we were to compare it to, say, a prepackaged like a Stouffer's, Stouffer's has way more calories, has half our daily sodium needs just in the mac and cheese. It has almost 3 times the carbohydrate, whereas this version has more fiber, more vitamin C, more vitamin A. We've got the potassium, the magnesium, and antioxidants from our butternut squash. Ideally, you want to let this sit and cool for about 5 minutes before digging in, because remember, it was really bubbly and hot. But now we get to taste test. Ooh, the crispy bits, I'm gonna spoon it right onto my plate. And I love the little bits of green we put on with our herbs on top. The best part, let's taste it. I want a creamy noodle and a crunchy noodle. That's the best combo. It's comforting. It is so packed with flavor with that roasted garlic in there as well. It's cheesy but creamy from the butternut squash. This would be a beautiful, healthified comfort food dish for your Thanksgiving meal. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this lightened up butternut squash recipe. It's one of my favorites and my family favorites. If you like this video, hit the like button below. And don't forget to subscribe to follow along for more recipes and nutrition tips. I release a new video each week, so you can ring that bell to be notified each time a new video comes out. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers.